INI and EVA. This morning, the issue that I want to talk about is the role of employment agencies in the labor market. Employment agencies are supposed to help applicants find work. They're supposed to help applicants easily access jobs. But the problem now is people are being duped. People are falling into wrong hands. The applicants who are made to pay monies before they get jobs. And after paying that amount of money, they still don't get the job. It has become a big problem in the Nigerian labor market, and it's continuing. Not too long ago, we heard that some people paid to be promoted in the Nigerian police force. We also understand that some people, before you get into like customs, any of all those lucrative jobs, you must be paying somebody something. The role of employment agencies is for finding work. They're also to help recruit. They're also supposed to help spread vacancy to people who, the information about vacancy opportunities to job applicants. They reduce the strain of the process when they help organizations recruit potential staff. But lately, as I mentioned, it's becoming very fraudulent. People pay monies, and because the jobs are hard to find and desperation are setting, so people just pay any amount that is asked just to get a job. And when they get a job, you even still find some employment agencies taking nearly half of what these desperate workers get. When I talk about employment agencies, don't even think about the big ones. We're talking about as small as house helps. It's nearly like slavery. For some house helps that get about 30 to 50,000 naira monthly, some agencies actually take 20,000 naira out of the 50,000 naira. Some even just do it half-half, 50-50. And so it's like the house help is working for the house help or domestic staff is working for the agency. What should be the criteria? Who is monitoring these agencies? What should be the accepted norm? Those are the things that we'll be discussing today on Vacancy. I'll be right back after this break. All right. So which of these organizations. So most times you rely on these agencies to get you work. And some of these agencies are the ones that are given the role of crafting out the employment, the vacancy. Sometimes they even help decide what these people get paid in the big organizations. And then the HR organizations also sometimes serve as employment agencies as well. There are people whose main job it is to just get workers. When it comes to oil companies, you know that oil companies use agencies to recruit their staff, especially casual workers. Casual workers is a bane in Nigerian labor markets. People work as casual workers for so many years. Some of them can do 2 to 3 to 4 years as casual workers, and they will not get their permanent letters of employment. So what is the role of these employment agencies? And what are they contributing to the problems that the job market already has? Recent review shows that many people get their jobs through middlemen. Somebody calls you to say, oh, there's a vacancy available at so and so, please go and apply. But when the person begins to ask for a commission for getting that job for you, it could be a one-off, it could be a regular payoff. So some people will say, okay, for getting this job, you just give us maybe the first salary. Some would ask for 50% of the first salary, and that's it. But when the agency now says for every month while you are working in the place, your job is nearly like on lease. So who is monitoring all these agencies? Because these agencies are holding a lot of the people and pressing them against the wall. In an economy where to get a job is hard to come by, you can understand the problem. The problem really is that people are desperate for jobs. The jobs are not available, and so any way that they can get a job. So anybody that offers them anything, even if it's like 20% of what they're earning, 50% of what they're earning, they take it because, as they say, half bread is better than none. It has to stop in Nigeria. The Minister of Labor and everybody that works in the government agencies that regulate employment need to look into this. In Nigerian employment agency need to look at this and begin to help, because the number is growing, especially those of them who are fraudulent. You see a lot of adverts in the papers telling you to show up in one place and take an interview, and they're representing so and so companies. You show up in the place, and when you show up in that appointed place, you find that it's one run-down place, and they have about several people who have been duped, and people are quick to pay. I understand that there was someone who, why we agreed to do this topic was that someone had paid to get a job in Nigerian Ports Authority, and she paid, she paid about 60,000 naira to even get her application in. She paid the money and then found out that when she now went for follow-up, got to the place and saw that there was nobody there. These are the kind of things that need to be investigated. These are the kind of people that need to be put behind bars, because you're adding to the problems that these people are having in the country. The jobs are scarce, and so when you scam people who are looking for jobs, then you should be dealt with. It shouldn't be left, because if the people walk free, then we're compounding the issues, like I mentioned. We're going to try and see if it is possible to get some people who have been affected to come on the show and tell us the agencies that they've worked with. But I've talked with Jobberman. They brought some of them on this show before, and they've told us the criteria that they don't take on jobs that they're not sure of. agencies, employment agencies should be sure of the jobs that they're giving out or mentioning. For instance, when we had the immigration problem in Abuja, a lot of the people that showed up there shouldn't have even been there. But because they're desperate, they just went there looking for jobs. The requirements for certain applications are always very clear. And when those requirements are mentioned or listed, don't think it will be waived because you have been desperate, you've been at home for over 7 years. If you read accountancy and they need a public relations person, your flair for it will not make you the best candidate. And so don't be desperate, because desperation is what these people feed off on. We like to mention here on this show that, just a minute. We like to mention here on this show that the, my talkback is, okay. Yeah, we like to mention here on this show that vacancies that you see in the papers, always verify before you pay any amount of money. And sometimes when the job is direct, just send your application in. If the people are asking for you to pay before you get the job, then it begins to ring and the warning signs are there already. Apply to a job, don't pay. So if somebody is asking you to pay money before you apply for a job, then the signs are out. It means that they are either sure that you may not get the job, or they're sure that you may not get the job, or they just want to make money for themselves. All right? Finally, before we take a break, if you have been a victim of this, we'd like you to send us a letter at vacancywithalibaba@gmail.com, or send us a DM on Vacancy with Alibaba on Instagram, Vacancy with Alibaba on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Let's know what your experiences have been. Let's know where the people who duped you were. Give us the addresses, give us the phone numbers they use, because these days that numbers are registered, we can trace some of these people so that we can get them out of the market. The employment agencies shouldn't be ripping people off. Employment agencies should actually make it easy for people to get jobs. And in a labor market like ours, where people are desperate to get jobs, they fall for these people because of that. So would ask that, again, that the relevant agencies should help to curtail this and put a stop to it. We'll be back after this break.
Got that.
All right. Every now and then when you're driving around Lagos or walking around Lagos, you see signs of agencies, employment agencies around. Some of them are saying, if you want nannies, call so and so number. If you want house helps, if you want educators, lesson teachers, and this thing, we have them. Drivers, and so most of these employment agencies also need to begin to. It's a market that people have not gone into. It's a business that people have not gone into. I think that if you work in an organization and you're in the HR department, this is something that you could take up. There's an opportunity here. Set up an employment agency with all the value propositions that would help people get jobs, that would help people get proper jobs, that would help people screen the number of people that are applying for certain jobs. Because if you put out a vacancy and you want to employ like 3-4 people, it is expected that you will get about 200-300 people. If you get 200-300 people apply for this job, the company itself that is looking for this staff cannot screen all of them. And so you need these employment agencies to help you weed out the people that you don't need to interface with, and then reduce it to the barest minimum so that you can begin to get real value when you cut down the maddening crowd. That said, how do you set up an employment agency? An employment agency first needs to be registered. You need to also know the industry that you want to service. You cannot be an employment agency that feeds everyone. So just look for this. So let's say you're dealing with the financial sector and you say your employment agency is for the financial sector. Very soon, by the time your business grows, people will know that when they're looking for people in the finance sector, they should come to you. If you're somebody who is, because that's the same thing that happens with these lesson teachers. People have been providing lesson teachers for so many years. So when you have your children and you need extramural classes and extracurricular classes and all of that stuff, you immediately know that these are the people that you talk to. The tutors, they help you with JAMB forms, they help you with GCE forms, UME forms, and process those registrations for your children. Those kind of people make a lot of money. So you can set up that, so you create jobs as well for people who will come work with you. But above all, it is that you can take it as a business. Don't treat it as, and even if you decide that you want to work as an employment agency or as an employment agent, you need to begin to put your ears to the ground to know who and who need your services. The people who need your services will be calling you and asking you based on the experiences that you have. They will need, let's say, they need you to advise them on the best ways to get their required staff. Some years back, I remember there was an agency in Surulere, Ogulano, that was looking for young graduates. This was in 1990. I was still a hustling guy. I went there, and when I submitted my CV and had a chat with the owner of the place, the man said, you are too qualified for this job. And what they actually were looking for were people who were graduates, who had third class or something, or pass, and they just want to give people small job. And so I found out that he was genuine with me. But most agencies do not do that. Agencies need to also be advisors. You play the advisory role to a lot of these people who come through your doors. Because when they come through your doors, you know, first of all, they want one thing, a job. But you also know whether the job is good for them or not. As an employment agency, you should be able to tell them if the job would be okay and stop stringing people along. And most importantly, collecting money from people who do not have jobs yet is nearly a scam. It's a scam because you're making it worse for them, because if they had money, they would come looking for jobs. So they don't have money, they're coming to look for that job. You can say, when we get the job, we will pay. When you get the job, you can then pay. That is the best way to do it. On this show, Vacancy, we try to make sure that people understand the labor market, the different sectors of the labor market, the different stakeholders of the labor market. And like we've been promising that we'll get a lot of these stakeholders to come on this show. We've had HR experts, we've had employment agencies, somebody has come from an employment agency. We have personnel managers come on to talk to you about how to prepare your CVs and get good jobs. What we will begin to do from now on is that we'll begin to place calls to some of these places, because letters should come in to us. In fact, we have several letters. We have several letters that have come to us, and these letters are complaining about working environments. Some people say where they work, the sanitary facilities are not so good. People have written letters to us complaining about the treatment by foreign nationals who have businesses here in Nigeria. And particularly, they complain about the Lebanese, they complain about the Indians, and they also complain about the The Russians. I didn't know that. The Chinese, yes. The Lebanese, the Indians, and the Chinese. So those people who work in those organizations, if you are working in any of those organizations and your working conditions are not so good, we expect to get letters from you so that we can treat the letters here and begin to call these people up. There's no need to work in your country where you get bad treatment. That's what this program is all about, all right? We thank you all for joining us. Vacancy is, like I said, a program for all workers, no matter your class, professional, vocational, whatever you do. As long as you earn salaries, this program will cover you. And we also believe that with time, all the people who own employers of labor will begin to come here and will be taking their experiences and matching that with how workers place them. Thank you so much. On behalf of my co-presenters, and all our people who work behind the scene, our producers, our directors, and the crew with graphics, audio, and cameramen. My name is Alibaba, and Vacancy with Alibaba signs off now. Thank you. See you next week.